Hey everyone, today I'm going to show you how to install the Tusk full view glass windshield on your Polaris RZR Pro R, whether it's a 2-seater or 4-seater, same process. The best part about this full view glass windshield is it maximizes your field of view. You don't have a big bulky frame with a smaller piece of glass inside. So if that's what you're looking for, this is a great option. It's made from laminated safety auto glass. You're getting full protection in the front. It's pretty simple to install, so let's go ahead and get started. To start out, I've laid out all of the hardware in order. It's going to make the process a little bit easier. And we need to prep our filler panel. So you'll notice the kit comes with some foam tape. We're going to start with the two shorter 7-inch pieces. Now I've already applied foam tape to this filler panel, but you're just going to want to do the same thing. So on each side, you're going to take the tape up and you can just bend it around or do like we did. And we actually cut this top little section and squared it off. And then once you have both sides done, you can flip the filler panel over. And across the top, we're going to apply this 40-inch piece of foam tape. Just remove that adhesive backing and stretch that across. Just make sure you're applying the tape to the correct side. So the filler panel, it follows the contour of the roll cage. So this convex part is going to be the outside. The next step is to install the windshield wiper. So I'm going to start with the handle. If you remove this smaller nut, you can set that aside and remove the mount. We're going to loosen one of these bolts up. You're going to remove a washer and grommet as well. And then you're going to take the mount. I'm coming through the back side, reinstall the grommet, then the washer, and then the nut. And this is adjustable, so you can have the mount further out or further in, depending where you need it. So that's looking good right there. I'm going to use a 19mm wrench and a crescent wrench or adjustable wrench just to snug this up. You don't have to crank it down too tight. Just want to make sure it's secure. The next step is to prep your wiper arm. So on the blade, you have the green cover that you want to slide off. Then on the wiper, you're going to press in on 2 tabs and the cover is going to pop up. After that, you're going to take your wiper arm, go through the cover, and you're going to hook this in place. Make sure you have this pulled all the way down so it's seated. And if it's not seated, this cover will not close on you. What we need to do from here is take our handle. And when you install this, I like to have the handle lined up with the wiper arm. So I'm going to come up from the inside of the window. We'll line this up. Keep in mind that you have the splines that need to line up. And once you've done that, you can go ahead, take that smaller nut, use your 10mm combo wrench to tighten it down. Then just press this cover in place. Now over at the machine, we're removing the front bolt on each side of the roof. And then the 2 mounting bolts behind that, we're just going to loosen up. Next, we're going to attach the clamps to the A-pillars. So when you do that, we're not going to worry about the rubber strip for now. We're going to be all the way down at the bottom of the A-pillar. We're just going to loosely install the bolts. You need to take a 5mm Allen. So just verify that you've got the mount facing towards the inside of the cab. This bolt on the flat section, you're not going to reuse that. So just go ahead and remove it. Then we'll do those same steps on the other side. The next step is to install the filler panel. So this is going to slide underneath the roof, and these slotted holes at the top, those are going to line up with these holes in the roof. Then you're going to take the bolt that we previously removed and install that through the roof, through the filler panel, and into that nut insert. Now, if your machine didn't come with the roof, the kit does come with M6 by 20mm bolts, a couple washers, and a nylock nut that you can use to mount the filler panel. So now that we have this in place, what we want to do is center this up from side to side, and then we're going to tighten down all of that hardware that we loosened up. Next, we're going to install the gusset mount brackets. There's a slot in this gusset, and the side without the hole, that's going to slide right in there. going to sit against the roll cage just like that. And we'll do the same thing on the other side. And you just want to make sure this hole is facing out. Now we can set the windshield in place. It's a good idea to have a friend help you do this. And when you set the windshield down, make sure that the bulb seal is against that roll cage. The next step is to install these mount spacers. You'll notice we've done that almost all the way around. But just so you guys know, these lock together. It doesn't matter which side is on the outside. All you need to do is set one spacer on the inside, go through the grommet, then we'll take the spacer on the outside, just make sure it locks in place. So you should be able to turn the spacer on the other side with the outside spacer. So once you've done that, you can go ahead and line these holes up with the filler panel. We're going to take the M8 by 45 millimeter button head bolts, go through there, and then we've got the nylock nut on the inside. We're just going to finger tighten those for now. Next, we're going to take the M8 by 35 millimeter button head bolts. We're going to go through the mount that goes into that roll cage clamp that we added. And again, we're leaving this hardware loose. That way we can make adjustments. Now for the mounts in the upper corners. Again, we have the M8 by 45 millimeter button head bolts. We're going to go through that and our bracket that we installed into the gusset. Then we have the nylock nut on the inside. Then we'll do the same thing on the other side. And then from here we can make some adjustments. So we need to adjust this both up and down and side to side, make sure it's centered up. Now it's very important that you do not rest the windshield on the hood. What you want to do is raise this up and then slightly lower it until that bulb seal just barely touches the top of your hood. And that's because this windshield is designed to float inside these grommets, and if it's pressing down on the hood, there's a higher chance that some damage could happen to your windshield. So now that we have that adjustment made, we're going to start with the two bolts going through the filler panel. We're using a 5 millimeter Allen and a 13 millimeter combo wrench to tighten those down. And when you're doing that, just verify that the windshield didn't slide down. After that, you want to tighten the gusset bolts. Now that we have the gusset mounting hardware tightened down, we need to check and make sure we don't have a gap between this bracket and that slot in the gusset. So what I'm going to do is lightly press on the windshield with my hand, and you can see this mount is moving. You do not want that to happen. So what we're going to do is take one of the supplied M8 washers. We're going to go between the bracket and our grommet, and then tighten that back down, and it should press this bracket tight against the gusset. Now with the washer in place, we'll go ahead and tighten down the hardware. Once you've done that, you want to verify that the bracket is tight against the gusset, which ours is. This is looking good. Now, I do want to point out the whole reason we have those washers is to take up for manufacturing tolerances. So the driver's side of our machine, it was perfectly fine as it was, but this side was a little bit different. So you just want to make sure everything is fitting together correctly. Next, we're going to tighten the lower mounting hardware. You're going to start with that bolt going through the grommet, and then on the clamps, we're actually going to remove the back side right now. Now I'm going to take one of the rubber strips that came with these lower clamps, and I'm going to cut it in half, and then we're going to use these halves to go in the back half of each clamp. We'll install the two bolts and we'll tighten them down. And the rubber strip just makes sure the clamp stays secure on the roll cage. Now the last thing I want to point out is as you tighten down all of the hardware, you want to go back through and verify that these spacers sit flush in the grommets. So if one side sticks up just a little bit, you're going to loosen everything up and make sure you get it aligned so that spacer is completely flush. And that's it for installing the Tusk full view glass windshield on your Polaris RZR Pro R, both the 2-seater and 4-seater. If you need one of these, you can find them on our website. Just click the link in the description below. Also, if you have any questions, leave those down in the comments. And if you want to see more helpful content like this, subscribe to our channel. I'm Charles with Rocky Mountain ATV MC. Thanks for watching.